Hello?
Hello? Hello?
That's not very. I was going to comment high energy. You were going to say hi. I was going to be like, BAM! It's Marcus Oki! And then you just didn't say anything. Now you ruined all the magic.
Let's do it again.
All right, I'll comment again.
Yeah. Hello, mate!
Boom! It's Marcus Oki!
Woo!
The world's greatest charming man who teaches charm and conversation and how to make girls fall madly in love with you.
Well, 2 out of 3. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't saying which.
So So what's going on, buddy? It's great to connect with you. I can't wait to get into the interview and all this kind of stuff. But mainly, I know what the question is on your mind.
Yes, I want to know what the hell you've been up to in a meditation retreat. What was all that about?
What was all that about? Well, believe it or not, they chucked me out, mate. They chucked
It
me out.
what?
Yeah, I was asked politely to leave the course for my own good.
You got thrown out
I
of
got
a
thrown out.
meditation retreat.
Yeah, and you're gonna love the reason. Are you ready for this?
Please tell me.
I got chucked out for winding people up.
Ugh. What on earth did you do to wind people up in a meditation retreat to pull them out of their satsang moments?
Hang on a minute. Now you're making me seem like a bad guy.
Well, I'm not here to judge.
Well, okay, let me just say this. First of all, it's 10 days of 10 hours of meditation per day. So it's brutal. It's fucking
Mm.
brutal. There's no phones, no computers, no internet, no nothing. You're not allowed to talk to people. You're not allowed to look at people. Nothing. You sleep, shit, piss, and meditate. That's all there is to the whole course. And it's really tough when you can't meditate.
Yeah. So hang on a minute. Weren't you there to learn how to meditate, or is that
I
just
was, and I did try at
yeah?
points, but I had a couple of times where I did it, and then other times my mind was just like, and it was just it's so hard to do because your brain is just like, hey, think about this, and what about this girl, and what about that time you did that? That was stupid. Or hey, here's a great idea. You could make $1 million doing this. That guy fucked you over that one time, and you paid extra for that peanut butter. It's like it's ridiculous. It's just
Yeah.
so impossible to just be like, shut the fuck up.
To be in stillness.
And, yeah, so that's problem A. And problem B is, do you realize the temptation for naughtiness when you're not even supposed to look? Do you realize how much potential there is for comedy when you're not supposed to make eye contact or talk
Oh,
to anyone?
so tell me what you did.
Dude, well, everything. What didn't I do? Like the most subtle stuff, like you're sitting there eating your food right in front of another guy. So I'd finish my food, I'd move the plate aside, and I would just stare right into his fucking soul. Like, and you can't avoid it because I'm in front of his face, looking right at, and there's a guy staring right in front of you. So people just kind of they try and avoid your eye contact. They kind of squirm, and mostly they just get up and walk off. Um, and then one time, this was great. One time, this guy, everyone was almost gone. He was just sitting there, and I just stopped right next to him. I just turned his head and looked at him. And for
Yeah.
a moment, he looked at me, and then he turned his head away, and he looked back, and we locked eyes for about 3 seconds, and he flinched. He almost had a mini flip on. He just went, "Oh, sorry," like he thought he had done something, but he wasn't sure what it was. So he literally his chair moved as he flinched, and then he fucked off.
So,
It
okay,
was
I'm curious, right? How did they throw you out? Did you just have two
Okay,
big
well, hang on.
guys?
We'll get to that. We'll get to
Okay.
that. Well, let me build it up. So the windups were subtle windups like that. Sometimes I'd do something like I'd just be walking along and there's only a couple of people around. I would just be walking and then I would just do a forward full judo roll out of
Right.
nowhere, and people would just be like, "Why is he doing that?" And other times when I'm just a couple of people around, I'll go out in a field and where all the people are there just chilling, whatever, and I would just pee I'll just pee on a tree. I'll just pee on
And
a
no
tree,
one
and
can say
people and
anything.
hey.
No one can say anything.
Exact. That's the thing, Marcus. They're not supposed to say anything, right? So it's like they're not going to rat you out. They're just going to stand there and just look away. So I peed on a tree, and I started doing, and I thought, all right, I have to wind up the teacher. Like I have to wind him up. So basically, the
That's it.
students all take a vow of a certain vows at the beginning. So one of them is noble silence, don't talk to anyone or fuck with anyone. And one of the other ones are just normal, blah blah blah. But the other key one is to refrain from sexual misconduct,
Okay.
right? Now that's a very vague term, misconduct. What does that really mean? So I went up and I signed up my name, and to go and speak to the teacher, and so I go in there and I said, listen, you know how we took those vows, and he's like, yeah, and I said, yeah, I'm just wondering, what exactly does sexual, you know, um, What was the way I just put it?
Misconduct.
Yeah. What is exactly the definition of sexual misconduct? And he said, no raping, no adultery. And I said, I was just curious. What about masturbation? And I'm not asking for me. I'm just asking for a friend. And he said, you're not supposed to speak to anyone about anything. And I went, oh well, maybe I spoke to someone before we took the vow of noble silence. And he goes, oh right. And he said, well, you've taken a vow, so you really shouldn't. I said, oh, all right, fair enough. And I said, I have a theoretical question. And he said, yeah. And I said, what if I was making love to, say, a cat that seemed to be quite enjoying it?
A cat.
Well, yeah. Does that count as because that's not rape because they're willing. Like, say if it's a dog and their tail is wagging, that means they're happy, right? So, anyway, he just giggled and then I left. Another popular wind-up was what you sign up your name basically on this form if you want to talk to the teacher. So one time I just wrote "I pee freely." That's a classic from The Simpsons, and they just erased that. And then another time I wrote Sir Bangs a lot or something like that, or Mister I want to fuck, something with something immature, and that's when they brought me in the office and they chucked me out.
How did they check you out? Did they just?
Okay, so wait, before I get to that part, which is the final part, I almost forgot one bit.
Okay.
This is really fucking funny, and I actually snuck in my GoPro video camera, and I filmed this wind up I'm about to explain to you. So I'm actually going to send that out to my mailing list as a little treat for them. So yeah, if you're not on that, fuck you. But so what I did was this. I'm talking to this guy. I basically broke several people's noble silence because what we did was this one guy. He actually knew who I was. He recognized me, and then I was like, "Mate, we got to talk, man. I'm so fucking bored." We went into his room, and the other guys hadn't talked for like 7 days, and we're like, "Hey, we're just going to talk if you want to join or not, but we won't bother you." And as soon as we started joking around, having fun, they did, and we had one night where we just fucking talked and hung out like dudes, and it was awesome. But in that night, the guy shows us. He's like, "Oh, I brought my Kermit the Frog onesie." So if you don't know what that is. It's if you go to like Primark here in London, you can get this. It's like literally like a one-piece Kermit the Frog outfit with a fucking Kermit hoodie, right?
Right.
So I said, Nate, wouldn't it be fucking hilarious if you just wore that into the meditation and just sat down? Because you're not supposed to wear any bright colors or anything that would distract anyone from your meditation, right?
Right.
So you're just supposed to wear like plain, boring fucking clothes. So I'm just like, okay, wait till everybody else goes in. One of us will come to the teacher who stands by the door, distract him briefly, like just ask him some stupid question. And in that moment, as everyone sat down, I'll be in there with the camera running right as it starts, filming everyone in the hall. And you'll walk in with a full-on fucking Kermit the Frog out in peace and sit down and start meditating and just act normal and see if you get thrown out. And we did it. We did that. It was fucking funny, but nothing happened. No one said anything, or no one even noticed. He did it, and then I also got some footage of Kermit in the lineup getting food and sitting down and eating quite calmly as well, which is quite cute. So that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Did they throw you down the stairs and say don't ever?
They
ever
didn't.
come
They
back?
didn't. So what happened was there was also this running joke because there's breakfast very early and then lunch is at 11 and there's no food except some fruit at 5 and I was starving and I actually I have adrenal fatigue and high blood sugar and shit and I need to actually eat every 3 hours or I get fucking angry. So I had this. So they were giving me extra fruit but it wasn't enough. So I was like hoarding. I was literally hoarding bananas. So I had like all these bananas in my fucking room. So at one point, so when he was throwing me out, I made all these confessions to shit that was just ridiculous and funny. So when I mean, basically they're like, look, we want to ask you to go, and I was like, is there anything I could do to change your mind? Blah blah blah. And they're like, nope, you're not taking it seriously. It would be best for you if you left. I said, all right. I said, but I do have a confession. And he's like, what's that? And then I said, I've got a banana in my room. And you're supposed to have food in your room. And I was like, and he's like, oh, that's all right. And I said, well, to be honest, I've been hoarding bananas. I've got it fluctuates between 6 and 12. And he's like, all right. And then he starts to get up and I'm like, wait a minute, I've got another confession. He's like, what is it? I said, I've been having impure thoughts, really impure thoughts, and involving girls, other people on the course, the cat that wanders around here. I mean, really horrible stuff, and it's starting to bother me. And I don't remember. I tried to do some other one that was just ridiculous. I just tried to milk it as far as I could. And eventually they're like, yeah, that's it. And told me to fuck off. Gave me a lift to the bus station, which I missed by 30 seconds and had to wait another fucking hour. And yeah, that was it. It's the end of that, really.
Well, I for one, I'm looking forward to chatting with you later.
Yeah, yeah. I had to tell you that stuff, but I'm meeting you in a bit, so we can finish the rest of this interview. In fact, when we meet up, let's forget the silliness because we had a serious interview planned where we're actually going to have a real conversation and teach you a lot of cool stuff, and you're going to share a lot of your conversational tips. So let's pretend this conversation never even happened. I'm just going to introduce you seriously, and let's try and keep it professional. Should we do that?
We'll give it a shot.
What What's up, world? This is the first ever Sasha Day Game podcast on iTunes, motherfuckers! So, this is exciting. So sometimes I put up, I do a little interview with somebody, and I put it up on my YouTube channel, and people like it, and it's good. But I always was saying, let's get it on fucking iTunes. Jesus Christ. I know some people don't like them because they control the world with their fancy computers. And other people like me do like them because those computers are better than the other computers. But they are a bit pushy, I'll give you that. But it's a popular thing. More people would listen to it. It would be great. It would make it special and different instead of just being on my fucking YouTube channel with all my other stuff. So, finally, Chris, who does the background tech stuff, finally fucking figured it out. He couldn't do it for whatever reason, some error, or they hate me. I don't know what it was. It just wouldn't work. Finally, it works, and this is it. So, and I didn't want to just do... I already actually filmed another one that's good, and it's fine. But for the first one, I wanted to have a particular guest, a very, very special guest, because... You ready to get your ego bigged up now?
Yeah.
Are you ready? I can see a little smile on your little fucking devilish face. This guy, of all the people I've really learned from, and there's a lot of people I've learned from, and all the people I'm going to name now will appear on future podcasts. So, Alan Roger Curry, James Marshall, Johnny Saporno, billions of people who are all amazing. This guy, he's not as good as those, but he's very close. And he's a good friend. I'm joking. That's a joke. You should see his face right now. We should be doing this on video. No, he's fantastic. He's very, very good. He's one of the most charismatic people I've ever met. And he's taught me, honestly, more than everyone else, which is hard to believe, but he really has taught me the most stuff. And I've spent more time talking to him on Skype, late night, long talks about, game and women and relationships and making girls fall in love with you, which he does very well. Just so much fucking shit. It's unbelievable. And so many times I had a revelation. I talk about it, and it's just insane how much this guy knows about it all. And he's been around forever in this gay ass community. And I just wanted him to be my first guest, also because he's a very close friend. And
nepotism.
Yeah. So without any kind of bigging up whatsoever. Make some noise for Marcus!
Woo!
I'm sure there'll be some good clapping there. There'll be some clapping noises. So...
Is anyone still listening to this?
I think they might have just left.
3 minutes into this now, probably.
And it's just a big fucking... It's rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Patting our own backs. Go.
So the problem is, what the hell are we going to talk about? Do you want to tell them how you used to be a fucking douchebag? Well, not douchebag, but just you used to be shy.
Breaking my heart.
It's hard to believe now, but you used to be shy. Like I used to be fucking just needy and shitty. You used to be shy.
Well, I started out in this area of self-improvement, of improving my conversation skills, which is what I specialise in now. And I started out very shy indeed, and I would be in bars and places like that were social, if I could get out of the house, and people would be talking to each other, and I would just be on the fringes of the conversation, not really being able to talk to anybody. So it was a real mission for me to learn, how do you become an engaging conversationalist? How can you walk up, start a conversation with anybody, anywhere, have it go amazing, and how can you project to your best self? Because when people say you should just be yourself when you're meeting and talking to people, what does that mean? That's what I focus on.
Exactly. That's what I'm about too. It's like you stole the words out of my mouth, you asshole.
Well,
I gotta change my logo now. No. Indeed. And so I guess tell the people sort of what happened. Like, how did you go from being this shy guy who's sitting there just picking your nose?
I do that.
We'll get more into that later, by the way, the nose picking.
Makes your head cave in, that does.
Into, being a baller.
Being a bit more chatty.
Yeah.
So the very first thing I did is I realised and accepted that I sucked, that I wasn't very good at talking to people, which was a big thing to do, because I think if you kind of have to look at yourself in the mirror and go, actually, I'm not very good at this, that's a very empowering point, because now the only way is up. So the crucial thing that I did is I looked...
You listen to that, guys? You all stink, and you need to admit that you stink.
And, well, I think it's very valuable to say there's still things I still stink at. I'm still always learning, always trying to refine what I'm doing. But a big thing I did very early on that made a huge difference is I looked for people who were better than me. And not just people online, I mean people in real life. If I was overhearing a conversation on the train, or if I was if I was in a bar and somebody was the life and soul of the party, I'd think, well, what is it they're doing? And I kind of people watch to begin with. And I might notice that somebody was laughing as they spoke. And because they were laughing as they spoke, their voice tonality was changing, and they were getting really good reactions from the people around them. This is kind of a messy way of learning, but it's also very organic. You kind of, if you look for lessons that you can learn from people, you'll osmose them. So you'll probably notice that you're often like the people you hang around with most in life. That is why I don't have a Canadian accent, because I try and keep away from you, Sasha, as much as possible.
Well, I've been stalking you, so that explains why I'm such a cunt.
Oh, that's true.
Oh!
Right back at me. A knife to my tummy. So that is the really big thing. Now, as I went on that sort of journey and I was finding out what people were doing, for example, these little mannerisms they were doing, I started to assemble it into a sort of a bit of a formula, you could say. And then I thought, right, I've learned everything there is to learn. And of course, at that point I realised I hadn't hardly learned anything at all. There was always more stuff to learn. And one of the big pieces of the puzzle, huge piece of the puzzle as well, is realising that this journey doesn't ever really end. You're always going to be learning new things if you're looking for them. And I certainly am always looking for, every conversation I have, what did I learn from that? So if I've gone to the trouble of taking action to open my mouth to talk to somebody, that takes effort. I'm going to think, what can I learn from that interaction? Because there's always something you can learn. And very often, I mean, I've met hundreds. In fact, I'd probably even say thousands, but I've definitely met hundreds of guys in the last 10 years who they do all sorts of things, like they run up and down the same piece of street day after day, trying to get approach after approach after approach. Like, yeah, I've done 1,000 approaches this month, and they're no better off. They're just as bad or as good as they were the previous month, and that is being a loser.
That's painful.
Because they're not looking at what they can learn from each time they've taken action. Instead, they're going, yeah, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. That's a really bad mindset. A lot of the learning that you'll get comes not before you take action, it actually comes after you take action. But usually, we don't look for the lesson. We just think, right, yeah, we revel in the glory of, maybe I chatted to a nice girl on the train and the conversation went really well. We revel in that glory, but we don't think, what lesson can I learn from that? What can I improve on next time? A very important question to ask is, if I could do that whole interaction again, if I could have that conversation again, even if you opened your mouth and went, bah, and that sound came out, ask yourself, well, what could I do differently next time? Well, maybe next time I could make the sound longer, or I could say, sorry about that, that's my tummy. My name's Marcus. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean I'll necessarily come up with the right answer, but what it does is it will refine what I'm doing. And a bit like a blade, you always want to be sharpening yourself up a bit.
Very true.
Yes.
It's funny. That's an interesting pattern I've seen from other people. A friend of mine, who's a very successful poker player, who makes billions. Wow. Well, okay, just millions.
Only true.
But same thing. He was just a normal dude playing fucking online poker, and then one day he was like, I'm going to play the best people in the world. I'm going to fucking beat them. And he started doing that. He just only played people with the best, and he started beating them because he learned so much from them. The next thing you know, he is one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the mindset. It was just like, okay, I'm not just going to play Joe Schmo here. I'm going to fucking play whoever, the best people I can.
So surround yourself with successful people, and they don't have to be famous names or anything like that. They can just be the man down the pub who's just doing one thing slightly better than you. You might notice he just opens doors for people and he gets a really good reaction every time. Still that. Do that yourself. Try it out. It may sit well on your shoulders to copy that little thing he's doing. It may not sit well on your shoulders, but at least give it a try a few times.
Yeah, I say this thing sometime. In fact, I just remembered to think an analogy you told me once about a bricklayer. But I think, when you think about celebrities, right? You think, wow, they're famous, they're rich. They're just fucking people. They're just people who are good at doing something. It just happens to be in the public eye. But they're just normal people who are amazing. Some of them have amazing personalities, some of them don't. But I meet people in life who are just normal people who are more talented and amazing and better actors and more bigger personalities than fucking actual celebrities. Yeah. So in fact, there's superstars everywhere. Absolutely. That you can learn from. There's no difference between being friends with, one of them. Let's pretend, let's just say Sasha Day for argument's sake, or Johnny Depp. Or Jim Carrey. What's the difference? They just happen to be famous. So all these people around you, you have access to, in an alternate reality, people who are famous in a fucking... Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. These people are famous in alternate realities, and you could just talk to them normally and be friends with them and hang out with them.
Yeah.
Isn't that, if you think about it, isn't that amazing?
It's crazy amazing. And the thing is, you will learn more.
You get me, blood.
I did get your blood.
You get me in it.
Yeah, for sure. Every person you talk to can teach you something as well. So every time I train people in the art of conversation. Hopefully I won't be at loss for words in this interview. Oh, was that a little rubbish?
Yeah.
But I always think, what can I learn from my students as well? They're always teaching me stuff. And again, it just becomes this process of refinement continually. So that is one of the most important things. You are your best teacher, but you have to be ready to look for the lessons. And you get the lessons by taking action. And taking action never feels like the right time to take action. I will tell you, I screw up every conversation I have. Every time I start talking, I say something dumb, a bit of spit comes out my mouth and lands on the other person's glasses. Something stupid happens. I
can attest to this. Yeah. He's a bit of a dum-dum. Like I said.
Every time, though, I have a conversation, I'm always making mistakes. But I persist, I continue. And there is never the right moment to start a conversation. Sometimes you'll be in a really good mood, like, yes, I can talk to anyone. Your state of emotion is elevated and you feel in a talkative mood. And many people will say it's good to get yourself in a chatty mood by talking to lots of people. That is true. Talking to people, even saying hi, how are you to the person who serves you coffee, will get you in a chatty state. But an even more powerful approach I have found is, rather than having to warm yourself up into conversations, is to go from 0 to 60 miles an hour by not warming yourself up at all, feeling really rusty, realising the conversation is at the worst possible moment, and turning to someone and just saying hi. Now, what you'll find is when you start a conversation with anyone, video I did on my website, yourcharismacoach.com, it's very good. I think it's video episode 30. I walked up to a group of 3 Argentinian girls, and I walk up and I just go, hi. And the first thing they say is, don't speak English. That's cool. I'm never really interested so much in other people's reactions to me. I'm more interested in my own reaction to their reaction of me. And I will always choose a reaction that makes me happy. And I think you're of the same ilk in this respect. So we have very little control over how people react to us. You could walk up to somebody, be all smiles, and that's definitely a good thing to do, and their puppy could have died that day, and there's nothing you can do. But your reaction to their reaction is everything. So choose a reaction that makes you happy. So the 3 Argentinian girls walked up to them and said something along the lines of, hi. They're like, oh, we don't speak English. I was like, okay, no problem. Carried on talking. Still got a smile on my face. Didn't faze me. Now, in my mind, I'm probably thinking, what the hell do I say now? But I'm going to push into that conversation. I'm going to persist. Another very big piece of the puzzle is most people will start a conversation if they get that far, because we live in a society now of iPhones and Facebook. It's very lonely. Modern technology just keeps us from talking to one another. But if they do start a conversation, they might go, hi, excuse me, or they might say, you have nice shoes on, or something like that. And the other person might not hear them, or the other person they're talking to is probably in a trance or in a daze because they're not expecting to be spoken to. Again, because of the society we live in. They're not ready for that conversation. So what happens is you say, "Hi, excuse me." The other person doesn't really hear, and they give you a reaction which is like a deer caught in the headlights look. We then react to their reaction, which is what we shouldn't do, and think, "Oh no, I suck. This has gone really bad," and then that kills our confidence. Again, it's not their reaction to us; it's our reaction to their reaction of us that's important. So when we break the ice with somebody, it's important to realise that you are snapping them out of a trance. They're going to have a dazed look on their face usually, and when you're doing that, their subconscious mind will look to how to behave based on what you're doing. So if you run up to someone and go, "Hey," and you're holding a knife, their subconscious mind will see the knife and go, "Geez, he's going to attack me." If they look around and see you've got a big smile on your face, their subconscious mind will be like, "What's going on? Oh, hang on a minute, he's smiling." Now, all this time they're giving you a confused face, but their mind is going, "Oh, okay, I'll smile back." That might take 5 seconds, it might take 10 seconds, it might take even longer. I ask people, what is the most valuable trait, characteristic a person can have in society? And they say, is it... I'd just like to say that Sasha's just passed wind and wafted it in my face. And I cannot continue to keep a straight face as he's done that. However, I will endeavour to continue with this. Oh, you stink. You absolutely stink. All right. This healthy diet you're on, right? Yeah, this is the downside.
The farting, it's got bad the last couple of days. Before that, it was alright.
Has it?
Don't know what happened.
That's making my mouth water a bit. I'm a bit hungry.
To be honest, you're just being such a boring cunt.
Just interrupt it.
I've got some great questions, though. It'll be much more fun.
Okay. You want to ask these questions now, or should I continue with what is the most valuable trait?
Go on, if you could just sum that up, and then we'll get interesting.
So I asked people, what is the most valuable trait? And everyone's like, well, it's not looks, of course, although that is valuable. And it's not money, although that's, it's valuable. And power is also a good, strong characteristic to have. But other people will get more clever and say, it's social intelligence. Knowing how to calibrate your behaviours around people. The absolute most prized characteristic in the society we live in is consistency. Is absolute consistency. Because it creates trust with people. And inconsistency creates no trust. So when you talk to somebody, break the ice, and you're smiley, and they react to you like, "What are you doing talking to me?" And you suddenly react to that, that shows inconsistency in your behaviours. And that destroys their trust in you. So remain steadfast, remain stoic, solid in what you're doing. Sasha, for example, if you've seen him in videos, incredibly consistent in what he does. Boom! Hello! He keeps his character. You express your personality, and you're not changing your personality for other people. And that consistency is your value. So there you go. Questions?
What's it like being a dick?
Well, when I said you can learn something from everyone you meet, that is, you are my inspiration.
You love me. Here's a good one. So, for those who are unaware, here's a little secret for you. People may or may not like. I remember I had this frantic... I have this call recorded. When I was so excited, I called you up in maybe it was late 2009, or 2010. And I was like, I figured it out, Marcus. The way to make people amazing on the boot camps is just to make them stop giving a shit. And we just have to break down their social fear so they don't give a fuck anymore. And you're like, yeah, I know. And then we're basically kind of doing this kind of shit.
Yeah,
and we started talking about it. And I remember the day it really dawned on me. You remember Woody? Good old Woody.
Oh, Woody's amazing.
Good old Woody from Scotland. And he was on a boot camp. And we're walking along, and one day I just said to him, just at the beginning, we were just warming up and stuff, and I said, "Hey, go over there." And there was a guy with some rubbish bins. I said, "Go over there and try and buy those rubbish bins off him."
Trash cans.
Yeah, just go try and buy the trash cans. And he did it. It was just, he came back laughing or whatever, and then we're just doing silly shit, and then we went and did the boot camp. But then days or weeks later, said, do you know what the best part was? Do you know what the best part was, man? It's when you made me do that stupid shit at the beginning. I was having a great time. I didn't give a fuck what people thought about me, man. It was fucking great. That was a perfect impression of him.
Perfect, yeah.
Except he's more Glaswegian. You're asking for a bus full of heaters, pal. Anyway, the point is, and that's when I realized, oh, okay,
That's what was a magical ingredient. So you and me, of course, came up with all this hilarious fucking shit that we do, and we do it for fun, and you know, we just, me and Marcus just make fucking asses of each other because it's hilarious. But for a long time, I kept it a secret because I didn't want people to realize the secret formula for making people awesome. It was like, it's making them do this crazy shit. So I didn't tell anyone. And then one day, people were begging me, like, please, how do you get rid of approach anxiety? And I'm like, all right, fine. And I wrote a couple of articles about it that really broke it down. Then I stuck it in my iPhone app. And some of those missions are from you in the iPhone app. And so now, we should talk a little bit about this.
Well,
because we do a lot of fun stuff. Some of the funnest things we've had is just being assholes.
How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go on this podcast?
We don't have to go down all the way, but we could talk a little bit about a couple of funny incidents. I think people would be entertained
talk about
by
funny incidents. I'd like to talk as well about beyond that, because with what taking risk taking is sexy. Taking action and risk taking is damn sexy, and when you push social boundaries, social norms, you act in a way that no one else acts like. You push the barrier. So if you're, looking
at girls' tits.
Yeah, that would be, staring. But if you're looking through the window at somebody eating, for example, and just staring through the glass, just looking at them as they're eating a meal, going, oh, with a gormless look on your face. People generally won't do that, and most people won't do that because it's weird, because it's not normal by society's boundaries, and you'll get labelled. You'll get labelled as a weirdo. Really, it's just your ego getting labelled. And anxiety, a lot of anxiety comes from what will people think of me. So what these wind-ups do, what pushing social boundaries does, is it creates indifference in ourselves, because ultimately confidence is bullshit. Confidence relies on having loads of success, and I don't care who you are, I don't care what guru you are, whatever, you get shit results sometimes. You walk up to somebody, start a conversation, doesn't work out. So you can't always get a good result, but you can look for what you did well, always. And that's where you build your consistency up. And what the wind-ups do is they create indifference. And indifference is consistency. Just like think, well, I don't care. Whatever happens. Meh. 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 So that inconsistency is very powerful. And, do you want to share a couple of ways we...
You mean the consistency is very powerful?
Yeah. Some of the wind-ups.
Yeah, we've had so much fun. So some of the ones I think I love from you the most...
one I use at the moment is whenever I buy something, the very first thing I say when I needed to buy a door from a DIY shop the other day. I wanted to see if I could get a discount, so I walked in and said, girl behind the checkout there said, hi, can I help you? And the door I'd ordered online was behind her, like she pulled it out, and I said, I need a poo. And she just paused and went, what? And I didn't say anything, and she went, because again, she's snapping out of a trance. She's like, well, the toilet's around the corner. I said, hey, just kidding. I'm actually here to buy the door. So I said, when we were speaking earlier, when I called up on the phone beforehand, it seemed quite romantic conversation. She's like, what? I was like, yeah. So is it possible to get 40% off that door? She's like, no. I was like, okay, I'll settle for 20%. And so she's laughing because of just the ludicrous conversation we're having. And yeah, so I got 20% off a door. I was like, that's all right. So yeah, whenever I buy a coffee, I'm just like, I need a poo. And they're like, what? Because being able to create emotions in people is powerful stuff. But you have to have more manoeuvrability in the conversation than they do. You have to be able to go to places that they can't go to be able to do that. So these wind-ups, these little practical jokes allow you to do this. And I mean, Sasha, you are the master of this.
I'd say you're the master, but we can fight about that.
Naked on the
We have so many good ones. So actually, Marcus was the one who, I quote him on this quite a bit. He taught me pre-frames in the beginning. And I've taken them to places that are good. One of our little games we play with each other. I guess you want to. Should we briefly just explain what? Okay, if anyone is retarded, it's just the expectation you set up for something, and then you completely take it another way. So, for example, an example would be, in my videos, for example, coming up to someone saying, "Don't panic, it's not a robbery." That's a good free frame because I'm letting people know to expect, "Hey, relax, this is okay," and it works. However, comedy-wise, give them a funny one.
your dad is probably going to smack my bum for saying this.
Yeah, but of course it has nothing to do with that.
No.
So we just like having fun. So for example, coming up to someone and just be like, "Excuse me, like say like your waiter comes up to you in a restaurant. I'll be like, "Excuse me, look, I'm not looking for trouble,
Yeah.
and I'm not usually one to complain.
Yeah, and I wouldn't normally say what I'm about to say to you right now.
Yeah, and please, don't quit your job over this.
Yeah, and don't call the boss over. We need to be discreet. I mean,
Yeah, but do you know what time you guys close? And then you just have it totally normal. It's fucking awesome. I did one so basically I came up with this game which is like the pre-frame train where we just keep pre-framing forever and
never getting to the point.
Never getting to the point. Yeah. So me and Marcus play this game sometimes, and he got really good at spotting when I'm starting it. So I'll just be on Skype with him and be like, "So I've been meaning to talk to you about this, and I'm not, I don't know really quite how to say this, but
you're bloody
here's
doing
the thing." Yeah, and he'd be like, "You just do it again." No, I'm just going to say something. I just want you to know a couple things about this. What I'm going to say. Number one, and then I think I had him going once for like I don't know a fucking long time.
A couple of minutes.
Yeah, it was quite good. But it's a really fun game, and you're amazed what you can get away with if you try.
Seeing what you get away with. I think it's great to have that attitude of being a kid, thinking what can I get away with?
Yeah.
Like there's so many boundaries you can push, and
so much. Marcus will slap people's hands whenever he can. So he'll be on the tube, and then someone will reach for one of those free papers on the seat next to him and he'll slap their hand. Or he'll be at like a sandwich shop and looking at sandwiches, and someone will reach for one, and he'll slap their hand, and they'll take that sandwich. That's fucking hilarious.
Steal the sandwich out their hands.
Oh, it's great.
This is mine.
I started doing that, and all the time I do that. I can't help myself. Yeah. Whenever I'm in a restaurant and I've just finished up my food, and the waiter reaches for the plate, he looks at me, and I just kind of I don't really react to it. And then as soon as he grabs the plate, I just slap his hand, and they just look completely shocked. It's so much fun.
Now, if you're listening to this thinking, well, hang on a minute, how can you get away with that and not get hit or not get into trouble? The way is this.
People are pussies. No one's going to do anything.
That is the short answer. The longer answer, though, is what this does is when you take little risks, like just doing little things that you shouldn't do, sliding down a stair rail instead of walking down the stairs properly, it's a bit of a social risk. You expand your comfort zones, but you also expand what can you get away with. So before we started slapping hands, we would, somebody would maybe reach for a sandwich, and you taught me this. You just grab the sandwich as they reach for it. So you're not actually grabbing the hand, but you're just grabbing the sandwich they're about to reach for, if they're in a deli or something. So it's like, okay, we can get away with that. And we started playing with it, but then it got boring. So well, how can we push that a bit further? And then it's like, oh my god, it's a bit of a risk. Let's slap their hand. Let's see if we can get away with it. And we just do it maybe gently to start with. Then we keep upping the ante. And you'd be amazed what you can get away with in polite society. Massive amount.
Especially in Britain. Do you know what cracks me up to this day?
What?
It fucking cracks me up to this day.
Yeah.
It's your one. When somebody's sitting there, there's usually be two friends sitting at a table, and there's an extra chair.
Oh,
and you just walk up and go, sorry, is this seat taken? And they go, oh, no, you can have it. You go, oh, cheers. And then you sit down, join them, and just start staring at them.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a boy and a girl on a date.
Oh, man.
So good.
I did that 2 months ago at Tower Bridge, and there was this city boy with his, his girlfriend and his other mate, and they were like, yeah, cool. I was like, is anyone sitting there? Like, yeah, it's yours, fella. So I was like, okay, and I just sat down, just stared, and no one knew what to do. I just didn't know because he kind of said you could have it. So it's like, if he's like, what are you doing? It's just, so I just stood there, or just sat there, and 5 minutes in the end, and you could see everyone just edging around the table. Now, what that does, it causes cringy feelings in your tummy, and Sasha and I are both addicted to the feeling of discomfort, the feeling of the cringe, because we are comfortable, or we are more comfortable, because what causes the cringe in us, what causes anxiety in us, is usually quite extreme stuff. Most people doing smaller stuff, they get anxiety. So doing these little exercises, when you just push it a little bit, it expands what you can get away with. It gives you more manoeuvrability in the conversations you have. Ultimately, what you're looking for in your conversations is coming from a place of stillness. And this isn't really touched on by anyone, apart from perhaps yourself and James Marshall. And stillness in conversation is being at peace. The ultimate consistency is not indifference. The ultimate consistency is just being at peace, being relaxed. And I've noticed a lot of, like for me, an acid test to see how good someone is at conversation is just to walk up to somebody, say hi, not know what's going to come next out of your mind. And as they look at you, confused maybe because you're interrupting them, just be at peace. Just relax. Because you relaxing will then relax them. But sometimes they won't be relaxed straight away. So your ability to relax when someone's going, what? What are you doing talking to me? Or, and they're not sure how to respond, just be relaxed. Somebody said something to me once that was very wise. This guy called Magnus said, if you're never sure what to do, don't do anything. And absolutely true. Big mistake I see, men and women actually, because I teach both when they're learning conversation skills and improving their social skills. Big mistake I see is it comes down to this whole idea of just be yourself. And what does that mean? It's like the most spouted information ever, timeless information. What I notice is if I'm meeting somebody, we have a conversation and I'll be talking to my client, then they go out and they practice conversation skills with me and they talk to somebody new, a stranger, and their voice will speed up. Their tonality will go up at the end. And all of this is not what they're doing when they're talking to their friends and family or people they're relaxed with. They're almost putting on a mask to get into the conversation. So the idea of just being yourself is being the person you are when you're most comfortable, when you're coming from that point of peace. So another thing I've noticed is the idea of fear and anxiety. When we're learning the skills for the first time, we try, and it's natural to think, I want to get rid of fear, I want to get rid of anxiety. And really there's three responses we have to fear. There's the most common response is do nothing and remain comfortable. And people say, oh, push your comfort zone. Well, the good thing about your comfort zone is it's really nice and comfortable. And sometimes it's good to be comfortable. But too much comfort is a bad thing. Just like coral in a coral reef, if the sea smashes against the coral's usually very bright and colourful. But if the coral's sheltered, then it goes all grey and manky. And if you're sheltered too much, if you don't expose yourself to fear, you end up grey and manky. Your personality gets softened off and you lose your edge. So what happens is when we're learning these skills, we jump, we leap into fear. This is the other thing you can do with fear. So the first thing is you can move away from fear. The second thing you can do is you can leap into fear. And leaping into fear is good because it gives you new experiences. You feel your heart racing. You just go, damn it, I'm going to do it. And an example of leaping into fear is, let's actually...
Going to a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat when you're terrified and can't still your mind.
That would be leaping into fear with the retreat. But
Yep.
What if we are, like you get these guys who are adrenaline junkies, and they're like, maybe, yeah, pretty much, and they're like, right, I'm going to jump out of a plane. You get a lot of them are like, yeah, going to jump out of a plane, it's going to be amazing. Oh, going to do this, woo! And that whooping and that, yeah, let's jump out of a plane is jumping, it's leaping into fear. And the trouble is with leaping into fear is eventually it numbs you. So when we take a massive adrenaline surge to face our fear, it's good to a point, but it quickly creates the law of diminishing returns. We get numb to running up to people and starting conversations with them. We get numb to, jumping out in front of someone and saying, hi, I just saw you. Because we lose our authenticity because we put on this mask to confront fear. Most men and women, but generally we notice with men, they leap into fear. And better than doing nothing, sure, but it only causes you so much growth. Very few men lean into fear. And that's the third thing you can do. Leaning into fear is...
like walking into the swimming pool. That's much worse.
There you go. What would leaning into fear be? Leaning into fear is realising that you're scared to talk to somebody, accepting that it's okay, and realising that fear, that anxiety, is not something that should necessarily be defeated. It's something that can actually give you your edge. Because when I feel fear, when I talk to people, when my heart races a bit, it's authentic. because I'm now leaning into feel like I could talk to that person. Oh, should I? Shouldn't I? All right. When I decide to do that, because I've pushed through that fear, because I've lent into it, because you know what? Sometimes you walk up to somebody, you talk to them, and they don't like you, and you could think, well, so what? But you know what? When you get hurt by that, that's actually better if you know how to handle that. So it would be like, think of it as almost like you have your ego, your identity, how you see yourself. Some people may not like you who you are. In fact, they will definitely not like you if you are your true self. And some people will absolutely love you. In life, we can come from a place of lukewarm. When we talk to people, you're lukewarm, or you can be hot or cold. And there's a quote in the Bible, it's actually in Gangs of New York as well. I know your works, you are lukewarm. Because you are neither hot nor cold, I spew you out of my mouth. I think Bill the Butcher said.
Good impression.
Yeah, well, thank you. Worked on it. Guys start conversations lukewarm. They don't walk up to somebody and say, I love your shoes. They'll be like, oh, your shoes are very nice and they're really good. It's like they don't go all in on the conversation. They're kind of trying to play it safe all the time. You know what? Go all in. I was on a bus and I saw somebody opposite me I wanted to talk to, so I thought it'd be funny and a little bit scary for me at the time, to get a bit of paper and write, do you want to go on a date with me? Yes or no? Little boxes. And then I drew a line down to another box with an arrow and said, if no, just wanted you to know I am very funny, even though I have very dirty shoes on today. I am actually quite good. I would make a very good boyfriend. And then another choice, yes, no. And I handed this bit of paper to this girl, and she didn't even read it. She looked at it and threw it back in my face. And it hurt. The fire only burns what you are not. Really, it didn't hurt me, it hurt my ego. It hurt me like, oh, look at me, I go and teach people this stuff, and no, look, I've got this rejection. It's good to get rejected. It's good to feel that, That's what makes you a man. Okay, that's what strengthens you. To numb it, to kind of just jump all in, to leap into it and go, yeah, oh, I didn't care, on to the next. That numbs the pain, and that is what stops you learning. That's what stops you growing.
I agree wholeheartedly, and I want to actually discuss, if I could, what you just said.
Yes.
That that being okay and dealing with that fucking pain makes you a man, because this is what pisses me off about, well, this whole fucking industry that I'm in, that you're kind of in.
Fringes.
You're on the fringes. But it's based on, hey guys, we're going to help you get better with women, but you're never going to face your fear. Hey, everywhere, you'll never. Here's a magical system where you can get a girlfriend or get laid, but never face rejection.
Women approach you.
Yeah, we're gonna make women approach you. It doesn't exist. It's never existed.
Bullshit.
There's nothing you can get that's gonna work and make you awesome with no risk or fear. There's always risk. There's always some kind of pain. Always. That's like, you're gonna get ripped, but you're not gonna have to work out. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So it's literally demasculating men. It's making men into absolute fucking little bitches who have no. You might as well just be a dog and have them remove your balls, because that's what's happening when you believe the marketing behind, we're gonna get you laid without you risk of being rejected. It needs to be the opposite.
Yep.
The opposite. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing. We're getting you fucking rejected. We're getting you blown up. We're getting you to stop giving a fuck, so you can just be okay with it and move on with your life.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you have to do that.
If I talk to somebody and there's no risk involved, it's numb. And the way to come from a place of authenticity, a very good way, is to never approach somebody twice. Oh, sorry. Well, never approach somebody twice. Never approach twice. Never approach twice in the same way. What I mean by that, I was in Germany on a train platform, and there was a really nice looking girl who was. I had a plane flight to catch, unfortunately, and I was coming back to England, but had half an hour. She was on the train platform, and she's looking at the train timetable, and the timetable is on these two stilts. It's on it's like a poster on two legs. And I thought, well, I could just walk up to her and say hi. That's cool. But that didn't really give me any anxiety. But I thought, what if I went around the other side of the poster, bear in mind it's on the middle of this train platform, and looking from the other side, you could see her legs. because it's on stilts, on legs, right? So I lay on my back on the platform. People look at me going, "What is this weird guy doing laying on his back?" And I slid under the sign. So as she looked down, I was on the floor looking up at her going, "Hi, do you want to go on a date with me?" She freaked out. Oh man, she freaked out.
That's great.
And then I jumped up and went, "Hey, all right, I'm Marcus, pleased to meet you." And I had a great conversation with her, had a lot of fun, and then I jumped on my plane. She said, "Do you know what? That was the funnest thing." She goes, guys never ever come and chat to me. Guys certainly never do that. And I didn't do it for the look at me, look how original I am. I did it because it made me scared to do it that way.
Right.
But I've never done that before, and I've never done it since, because I always try and start a conversation in a different way.
Right.
And that keeps you on your edge. It's so with all this dating stuff, there's so much bullshit out there that numbs guys.
Yeah, that's what, and this is exactly what we were just chatting about. That's why I recently was talking about this in one of my videos. Don't be fucking saying the same thing over and over again to a fucking girl. It's fucking retarded.
I just saw you from over there,
and I just want to. Can I? Excuse me. Can I just tell you something really quickly?
Quick.
I just saw you from over there, and I thought you looked really nice.
Boring.
Oh my god! Just fucking shoot me in the face.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's like somebody just. This is what you say to a girl on the street, and then.
It's the quick fix. It's the quick fix, mate.
Yeah, and it desensitizes you to everything.
Yep.
Because there's no creativity, there's no thinking, there's no authenticity. You're not figuring out why are you attracted to her, why are you going over there. Nothing. It's just, this is what I'm going to say because this is my little fucking programming. Jesus Christ.
You get that. I get that a lot with guys, and like, yeah, I'm going out to do some approaches today.
Yeah.
What is that about? Going out to go and chat to people for the sake of chatting to you, weirdo. Right? Make it something you are, not something you go and do. Like I know, like certainly hang around with you, Sasha. Like you don't go out. You don't go like, oh, it's 10 to 12 today. I'm going out for 15 minutes of practice. You will go. You'll go to a yoga class and see somebody on the way you want to chat to. That's fine. Do that because it's something you are.
2 days ago, on the last day of my my recent boot camp in London, right at Oxford Circus, there's some people with this massive sign, and it basically I've got the picture on my my iPhone here, and I think it would be funny to actually read out what it says. So it says, warning, hell awaits. So basically, on one side it just says, only Jesus Christ can save you from sin and hell. Read the Bible for the details. Awesome. And then if you look on the other side of the sign, and we're waiting for them to rotate this, it says, warning, and then it just lists, check this out, abortionists, Jesus mockers, fornicators, rebellious women, Muslims, disobedient children, masturbators, sport nuts, the prideful, hypocrites, cross-dressers, Buddhists, good people, thieves, inventors of evil. I'm only halfway down the list, Marcus, but I'll get there. Party animals, idolaters. I don't even know what an idolater is. Adulterers, liars, anarchists, Catholics, murderers, atheists. Fair enough on the, on the atheists. Pornographers, just kidding. Liberals, Satanists, cowards. I mean, I agree with that. Cowards go to hell, that's alright. False teachers, Hindus. Hey, fucking Hindus, you're lovely. And money lovers. That's you, Marcus.
Well,
hell awaits underneath that. Fantastic. So what I did was, I got up on a little ledge thingy, and I just started, there was a big crowd of people there listening to this fucking nutcase, and I just went crazy. But they knew I was kidding. And I just started yelling at the top of my lungs, hey, all of you people, I can see it in your little eyes. All of you are disobedient children. And guess what? You're all going to hell. That's right. You're all a bunch of liars. Half of you are Catholics. And I could tell at least 25% of you are cross-dressing, maybe more. You're all going to hell. And I just started yelling at the top of my lungs like an absolute nutcase why they were hypocrites and they're all going to fucking hell. Everyone knew it was a joke. Yeah. And they loved it. It was just hilarious. And the Christians were angry because no one was looking at them anymore. And I left. And I had no fucking, it was just funny to me and I wanted to do it. Now, here's the magical thing. As I crossed the street, I was laughing. Everyone was laughing. I felt great as I was having a good time. There was 8 girls all standing together. They were all fucking hot. Like a bunch of hot girls. One was particularly hot. And I walked up and I said, hey, you guys, all of you guys, fornicators, guess what, guys? Guess what? And they're all looking at me like, what the fuck's going on here? I'm like, you're all going to hell. And they're still not smiling. They don't know what's going on. I'm like, you know what? I can tell you guys have been disobedient children. And guess what? And I looked over at the sign, looked back at them. you're all going to hell. And they just started cracking up. Because I had there's nothing I wanted. I wasn't trying to get their numbers. I wasn't trying to pick them up. I wasn't nothing. I'm being a fucking stupid, hilarious asshole because I think it's funny. And they knew it. And they loved it. They did not want me to leave. I walked away saying, I'm watching you guys. You know that thing where you point to your eyes and you point to people? I'm watching you guys. And as I walked away, half a block, they were all laughing, calling me over, and doing the eye thing to me, going, we're watching you, buddy. And it would have been, how easy would it have been, and I just did not care, I was with my friends.
Yeah.
How easy would it have been in that moment to walk back and go, by the way, you're fit. Can I have your number?
Yeah.
How much game, how much manipulation, how much money do I have to have? How much talking about my fancy cars or anything do I need in that moment of time to go, can I get your number?
It all comes
Nothing.
All comes down to taking a risk, though, because
I took a huge risk. I rocked up to a bunch of girls and went, they're all fucking going to hell as a joke. And that was it. Because I entertained myself and I didn't want anything. I was in the moment having fun. That was it.
So if somebody is, you're...
PS game is bullshit.
Yeah. You're a stand-up comedian, right? What can we do for somebody who is, if they're listening and they're thinking, well, that sounds awesome. I'm not quite that level yet. What's a good first initial exercise you can get?
That's a great question, Marcus.
Well, shall I answer that question?
Shall you answer that rhetorical question?
Okay.
Go on then, son.
This sounds cheesy. Just tell people jokes. Just say, you look bored, here's a joke for you. Tell them a joke. Tell them a clean joke that is cheesy. Cheesy jokes are good. I always like. So
what did the Jamaican kid get for his birthday?
Don't know.
Oh wait, sorry, no, that's not appropriate. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. What is 5Q? This is algebra. What is 5Q plus 5Q?
What?
5Q plus 5Q. What would that be?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alright.
Okay, so it's bad. So I just tell a cheesy joke. People will smile, right? But you're taking that risk of going, oh, what if they don't laugh? Sometimes people go, oh. A very cool thing to do on top of that is go, now you tell me a joke. So you can get a reciprocation. Often, most of the time, people will tell you a bad joke back.
You look so sexually frustrated. Let me give you an orgasm. What? No, you give me an orgasm.
I go with that in future, so that's a much better exercise.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, that's the point. You're having fun, but you're coming from a place of stillness. Knowing who you are. And if you're thinking, well, who am I? I'm still working that out. We all are. We're all still working that out. Our stillness becomes, by stillness, I mean you're being present in the moment. You're not. Your mind isn't racing, and your chatterbox in your head isn't talking. It's just taking what you're seeing. It's listening to the sounds around you. It's feeling what you feel. How do your feet feel in their shoes right now? How do you feel as you're listening to this? This recording. This makes you present. And things that knock out our presence, our sense of presence, is when our mind goes into the future, where fear is, or our mind goes into a past, where sadness is. Usually this is caused by the voice in our head, what people would refer to as the ego. We all have one, and it's always ready to click back in place. If you're ever in doubt, if the ego is ever trying to talk you out of doing something, I have two little phrases that I use. I use my ego against itself. The first one is, so what? So what? If I'm like, oh, don't talk to those people, what will they think of you? So what? And then the next thing I say is, let's just see what happens. Following those two phrases, I have had a lot of amazing conversations with people because of that. And that's really what I focus on. I'm a conversation coach, a charisma coach.
And you're a fine one at that, old chap. A fine one at that. All right, well, I guess this has dragged on long enough. So let's end with a funny story.
That's
the funniest thing we ever did. One time... Do you want to tell a story about the airport?
That was the funniest thing. I mean, we
did a lot of funny things, but that was a really funny one.
Is that? Hang on, well, the one we were strip searched, probably.
No,
the massage.
The massage.
Oh, the massage.
Yeah,
that was good.
That was fucking hilarious.
You tell it. You tell it better.
All right. So basically, we were thinking, all right, we had a flight together, and we thought, what's the most awkward thing we could do? And you got to realize, it's a high pressure situation.
Yeah. And
the higher the pressure and the more awkward it is, the more fucking awkward it is, the more awkward it is.
Hundreds of people walking around. There's security. It's everyone's on their best behavior. It's an airport. You can't make jokes. You can't say the word terrorism or bomb or anything. People are uptight. So what we did was we decided to do this, and
we decided that we were going to give each other a topless massage in the lounge, waiting to get on the plane. And we talked about it, and then we look at each other, and Marcus gives me a little nod, and he starts to take his shirt off, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Here we go. Takes his shirt off, and I'm like, all right, here we go. I take my shirt off, and I just start massaging him. And I given him a really, really proper...
It's actually really good.
It was,
I was quite enjoying it.
It was good. And he was just being very vocal, like, oh, God, yeah. Oh, that is the spot. That is fucking hell. That is fantastic. And I'm getting my elbows in there. I'm really doing it. And and amazingly, no one is looking over at all. Like, not even one person. They just, I'm sure somebody noticed, but they just were not reacting to it whatsoever. And one lady did comment. She just went, "You enjoying yourself?"
Yeah.
And you went, "Oh, fucking hell!
Yeah.
It's great."
Do you next?
Yeah. And then we swapped, and then I got my massage, and we put our shirts on, and we get on the plane. But it is amazing though. You think people are gonna flip out? No one does anything. No one ever does anything ever.
I probably wouldn't recommend this at any other airport in the entire world. I went through customs about a month ago. I was coming back from New York, actually, when we were working together. And I was coming through, and it was passport control, sorry, not customs. And the guy looks at my photo, and I don't know what it is, my passport photo I look like a bit of a thug in it. And he goes, oh, he's looking at me, looking at the photo, looking at me, looking at the photo. I go, oh yeah, I do look like a bit of a drug dealer in that one. And he kind of looked at me and went, ooh. And I had that moment, like, where you replay stupid stuff people say in airports. And I was like, I am one of them people, I can't believe it. And he goes, I'll be honest with you, yes you do. He goes, yeah, better not tell that to customs, alright? And I was like, oh. And I mean, it's about maximising your moment when you talk to people. So many times we go in and we buy a coffee and that's the conversation over, it's robotic. Break out of that script. So walk in and say, right, before you serve me, I've got a joke for you. Or before you make your order for your coffee, go, I really need a poo. All right, throw something in there. You're never going to see him again.
That's right.
All right, it's great practice. And the further you push yourselves, whether you are massaging yourself, whether you're just taking little risks in conversation, it's like a bit of elastic that stretches. It'll never return to its original size. You'll expand from that, and your calibration skills, your ability to have social intelligence, to feel people out as you're talking to them, will massively improve because of these little risks you're taking. Leaning into your fear.
That is solid advice. Before we send these people on away, I just had one little question. Let's keep it to 60 seconds.
Okay, 60-second answer.
You and me are good at this.
We're the best.
We're the best.
We are.
No, that's not a joke.
Yeah.
We're good. But what is the one single greatest, mind-blowing success story you've had with a client that will motivate people to think, well, fucking hell, if that guy could turn his fucking social life around, I can't too.
Okay, I have two.
But you've got to pick one.
Okay. So, a guy called Graham, who worked with me on his very first session.
He was a cunt.
He was a lovely man, but he couldn't talk to even somebody he couldn't buy a cup of coffee and make conversation with them, and he burst into tears. And they were his social skills. And after a few sessions, he had an amazing girlfriend. He's socially liberated, just going around chatting to everyone everywhere. Fantastic. That is because he was prepared. He'd hit rock bottom. He's like, right, stuff this. What he knew, the what and the why. He's like, I know why I need to get good at this, but he lacked the how. And I think that's where you and I come in, breaking everything down step by step and showing them one bit at a time. So yeah, that guy had nothing, and now he's very happy. Got promoted in his job. Life's good.
Nice. That is a good motivational start.
It's true.
All right. So let me say this. So Marcus, not only does he have his very own website, yourcharismacoach.com, which has some great stuff on it. He's also he's been helping teach boot camps with Sasha Day Game Incorporated, and he'll be putting more articles and such on our website. Right. So if you want to train with Marcus, I highly recommend it. He really is good, especially if you want to become more charismatic, if you want to learn how to have amazing conversations, if you run out of things to say. Marcus is your man. You can find him on either website, and you can reach him personally if you want to at marcus@sashapway.com. And if you mention that you heard about it on the
That's totally your email address. What is that about? Where did that come from? But okay, yes, you can. Yeah, that will get you.
That will get to you. And you will get a discount if you mention the podcast we will hook you up with a little something special, just so we know people are fucking listening to this.
There's a key word.
Their keyword is humiliation.
Okay, humiliation.
If you mention humiliation and the podcast, because just think about the airport, humiliation. But it was awesome, and it was an honor to have you here on the first one.
Hopefully the others won't be a big rambly mess.
No, but you know, it was an organized ramble. I thought it was quite good. And we'll be back semi-regularly with more fantastic guests. Some of them who may or may not be losing their hair.